that whole prompt in order for you to get the right input in this context, right?
Right. So yeah.
So in the current new, maybe you can request your management to provide AI access also.
Hmm.
So
So here, right? Sorry. So here, right? This one was done when the team was in formative phase, not a performative phase. So there were a lot of issues. So you can see basic things coming up here: dependent stories, team collaboration, how do we collaborate, and QA. What so accountability issues. So that's why we used to capture it this way. I have other things also, but yeah, there are other ways also to do it.
no, this
Just
is fine. I would say make it more colorful. You have so many
yeah,
templates
this
in
is
Miro.
another.
Ha.
Yeah,
Liked what you learned, what you
learn,
didn't long
latch,
for
longed
that.
for. So
That's good.
this is a defined template in uh so it's a defined template in Miro. That was something that I created in a blank board.
Correct.
So likewise, yeah.
You can add colors, pictures, and make it
Correct.
more interactive. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's the beauty of this whole platform.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, when I'm glad you shared that, Momit. I really appreciate that. It gives a glance for all others who have not used, right, how it is used live. Correct?
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Uh, Arun, one doubt, like actually, you mentioned in real life, I mean, during retrospective or in AA planning meetings, sprint planning,
Mm.
how do we use AI, right? So I'm just thinking, like, if at that time, if we use AI tools, like how the stakeholders and team would react, and uh, any
Retrospective, right?
thoughts? Retrospective, like if
Yeah.
we take that as an example.
So you tell me normally what happens in a retrospective meeting?
Yeah, yeah, first we what went well. So we'll give some time for the team. Everybody will give their inputs, and then what could be improved, and yeah, the team will contribute. We'll go through them and identify some action items on process perspective,
What
collaboration
worked
perspective.
well, right? What you like. You just
Mm,
saw Mamita's
mm,
screen here, right? So what you
mm,
like, what long for, what went, what did not work well, right? You put everything in a quadrant. It is very flexible. End of the day, the whole purpose of a retrospective is to identify what worked well. You will continue. What did not. That's what we have another thing called start, stop, continue, SSE. So you will, people from a cultural level, what are the new things that you're going to start from now, right? What are all the bad
mm,
habits or what are the bad areas which acted as a hurdle? So you put it in the stop section. The things that you would like to continue will be in the continue, right? You have multiple ways, right?
okay. Mm,
So all these are you can capture it. Now AI comes is when you want to actually expand on a particular topic, right? Which as a human you are not able to, right? We have our limit. Remember yesterday I told you everyone has got their own capabilities, right? It's a very sensitive discussion to talk. I might not be capable. When I say if I'm hiring a person as a scrum master or a product owner, there is an expectation, right? You has to do XYZ, job description. And I remember I told the word the very first time, the beginning, the world has moved into the capabilities part. How capable I am to perform for that given role. And it varies company to company. So I might be capable, I might be the superstar in the current organization as a scrum master, but I'll be the worst guy as a scrum master in another company. It's quite possible. And it has happened a lot. I have seen that happening, right? A person who is completely adaptable, understood, and knows the dynamics of the current organization was unable to succeed in another company. As he moved on, he wants to scale up, right? My own friend, he was struggling, and then after working for 2 years, he had to switch back because of various other personal reasons. Correct. So these are all things to do with capability. Correct. How much can we adjust, adapt to the changing, with the way how the dynamics are. So when it comes to your companies, when you are the Scrum Master, if there is nothing like this, you can always have people come on board if it is not helping you building that capabilities, you can seek the support of AI and say, hey, am I missing something? I don't want the world to know. You see that? Before walking into a room, and if I'm the Scrum Master, I need to organize something. I don't want the world to know that I'm not capable to do a particular thing, which I might have done in my previous organization, right, in a different capacity. But here things are different. So if I don't want anybody to know, I'll simply seek the help of AI. It is going to help me build that capability, that gap, which is what I would say in these contests we can all put together, bring out. Like I showed you, right? If I want to do a quick mind map or a brainstorming retrospection, correct? I want to discuss on a particular topic, but I'm running short of words, running short of ideas. I'll simply ask AI to expand the ideas. That might give me new ideas when I see that happen. That's how we proceed.
Okay, okay. So it should be a like a preparation activity, not during the ceremony,
Preparation
right?
activity, if you are very confident, you can make it in the dynamics. See now,
Okay.
yeah.
Mm.
Remember the 4 stages of learning.
Yeah.
State of mastery is when you're completely confident, right? You do things without being instructing. It happens as subconscious activity, right? It comes naturally to you,
Mm.
right? So
Yeah.
that is what the thing is. And I always follow the cricketing terms a lot in this context, because even a cricketer, a skilled batsman or a batswoman, right? His real skill is tested when he is able to perform in all conditions, not only Indian pitches, South African pitches, Australian pitches. You see what I'm saying, right? West Indies pitches. As long as a batsman is able to perform in all different conditions, irrespective of the kind of pitches, that's what tests the skill of a batsman. That's what a true skilled batsman is all about. And same thing even in Agile. How quickly you are able to, you know, align and adapt and adjust, that will define us. So AI comes to our rescue a lot. So if you are in that mastery stage where you are completely confident of all your tools and everything, you can use it dynamically. I use sometimes because I've been used to this a lot. So that's why, right, when you do a certain things over a period repeatedly multiple times, it becomes a habit. It becomes a simple practice. That's what psychology says. Otherwise, use it as a preparatory.
Okay, okay. Cool. Thanks.
Okay, good one. I suppose that is a good learning overall, right? To begin the day 2, right? Now, can we take a quick look? Who all wants to share your SWOT? Very quick. If you want to take a quick, right? Maybe 1 minute each. Whoever has built, we take a quick collective look at it. It doesn't have to be, proper, but at least whatever the attempts that you have made, I'm curious to see that.
Can we start with that?
Yeah, Kartika, you wants to start first?
Yes.
Okay.
Just a second.
I would like to look into the, okay.
So this is our task
Perfect.
related to Technova SWOT claim. So we have background and leadership vision and challenges, roles in the scenario, and the task for learners as the team perform a SWOT analysis for Technova solutions in the context of their digital transformation initiative. Consider the company's internal capabilities, market conditions, and potential challenges.
Hmm.
And I had actually I don't know whether it is right or not.
That's
So yeah, final outcome I will show you what I have tried it like opportunities, threats. 1 second, show you. This is previous one. Just Opportunities and threats, and also strengths and weaknesses. I am able to get it from the
How do you make it visual?
visual. I had made it. Yeah, this is the visual.
Visual meaning in a it can be better in a quadrant. Okay, so you did like this, right?
I have done it like
But
this. Yeah.
yeah, so very, usually a SWOT will look like a quadrant, Kartika. A quadrant, a four matrix
Yeah.
on the
Okay.
left side, that is how. So that's what I'm saying. Utilizing the tools, right? This is a learning, absolutely fine. Don't worry. So what we normally do in this is these tools or these features, right? Every tool will have its own features. First and foremost is we got to understand at what circumstance will we use a tool. Number one. Number two is what feature of the tool can I use given the context, right? So this will help you to build. Now, for example, I have a lot of tools in my tools meaning like from spanner, the screwdriver, right? The hammer, nails, whatever, all kind of monkey spanners, everything, bunch of toolbox I have. Now, if I want to hang a photo frame, a family photo frame, what tool should I be using?
Screws with some.
Screw and hammer.
A simple, right? Screw, you nail it, hang it, that's enough. Just because I have access to all the tools, will I go and use spanner? What will happen? You see that?
Yeah.
That's our thinking. And at the same time, if I want to fix my kid's bicycle, right? He's saying his pedal is not working, right? It's not rotating. So if I go with hammer, my it won't make sense. So I will apply the right tool
This is noted.
depending upon the right use case. That will only come with practices. That will come out on the occasion. What is the occasion? What is the the situation? Yeah, that means if you're going to present something or if you're going to spend it across, spread a word with across multiple stakeholders for a peer planning event, I would go with building a flyer, infographic, to get that punch inside people's mind. I'll go out and do all those. All right. That's about it. If I want to go to the leadership call and then quickly demonstrate something, then perfectly that would work too. But given the way how the SWOT analysis can be done, it's a typical quadrant approach, right? That is how we will adopt. Any other responses, friends?
I have done one.
Sri Vishnu, you want? Okay.
Let me just share. Guessing I have the quadrant which you're asking for. 1 second. Is this visible? Screen?
Yes.
This was the quadrant came up with.
Quadrant.
And the other tools, I asked ChatGPT to generate a quadrant for me and it did it.
You can use Claw, yeah, any AI tool, right? Julius, doesn't matter. The using of the tool is absolutely not a problem. In general, where we will use Julius is when you have data which you want to give support for analytics, right? So the LLMs, we can use it for general prompting, getting the data, representing it in this form and all those kind. But when we are using explicit tools, we are going to build a purpose. That's what we are going to do next, right? There's a completely data-driven activity. Right? I'm going to reveal a real-time story, right? And you can see how the difference is, right? So this has got strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats, right? So this is a quick quadrant view. Okay, it's fine. Any questions, others?
I've got a similar quadrant
Quadrant, okay.
using Claude.
Okay, let's see how it looks, how it has come out with. Okay.
This and there is also strategic recommendations. It's a diagram, so it also gives me that.
See, now you see the difference in the usage of tools. One might give a better perspective, right? One gives little more detail. So these are all the way how uh, the tool will make you savvy, right? Just like my friend, what do you say? When you go to a restaurant, right? There is one where you just go sit and look at the menu and say, right? There is other where you feel welcome. You're welcomed with a juice, right? You are given a special treatment, right? You're made to sit, then they tell you that there is a special dish today, right? Something which engages you, and all of a sudden you see a child, you engage the child, right, with by giving him or her some stuff. So these are all the way how it makes you feel. It makes you feel more relevant. Same thing in the LLM also. If now you tell me, right, we are using Copilot, ChatGPT, this one, right, Claude, you saw the different output, right? So Claude is now showing you something additional without you having prompted it, because it has intelligently identified what's in it and say, maybe you also need to think on these strategies. They have given that kind of a context, isn't it? So that's the collective learning, friends. This is the beauty of such workshops here, when people from all backgrounds come, understand. That's why I always encourage everybody to use different tools to see how each and everything. Good one. Okay.
We
Anyone
can
else?
see, sorry, we can see it has used right colors also. Strengths green.
Yeah, that is also something that. So it has given
If
strength, weakness, opportunity, threat, and if you see, right, let me just quickly share it. If you see this diagram, so this is having strengths in green, weakness red, opportunities blue, and threats yellow. If you see this diagram, right, the colors here are also in unison with what this other analysis diagram had. So these are all the strengths, the green ones. This is the weakness. This is the threat and everything. So it is just giving the threat, weaknesses here, and also threat. It is coming here. And for all these things, what we have to do, it says phased implementation approach. Now, maybe if I ask like what should be my phased implementation approach in this use case can be, it might give me further ideas also, something like that.
See, that is exactly the role of AI.
Hmm.
You see that? Now tell me,
Now I
Momita,
can use
right?
this
Tell me.
diagram to build.
Yeah. So tell me, Momita, right? Honest question. If for a moment, let's unlearn, right? Let's forget about AI. You are given a typical SWOT. Now that you got an idea, that's what I'm saying. You unlearn it, right? Tell me how you would have prepared a SWOT.
An Excel chart.
Yeah, right? We have the tendency to move towards the standard traditional tool which we all have been trained on, right? It's a human thing. Now this is opening up newer ideas and say, hey, you see, of course we have to accept that it is giving us better view on things. So now it makes us think twice, and well, you can see all the LinkedIn today. All people who are writing English lines and words and everything, you're amazed having it. How can this guy write English like this? I have always wondered, right? Of course, it is good and bad as well, but when it comes to the real work life and all those, it's all about integration. It's not about competing or things like that. It's all about how you integrate, help me build my capabilities to the next level. I can grow fast. That's all. Very nice. Anyone else who's who has attempted the SWOT, friends? Yeah, Ashish.
So this was our problem statement which were given, and actually Claude has restricted me the use because I have short-term wait, so I have to use ChatGPT and other so that I can get the SWOT analysis done. So this is the result over here, and I use napkin actually for
Yeah, that's perfectly
data.
fine. Yes, napkin also
Yeah.
works. You know, it identifies that. Yeah, I agree.
But like Momita, it has not given the right colors to the strength and all that. That was the great one. And
So
I
we can.
also like I was thinking like if we have to give the presentation, then also we have to keep it like in a quadrant format. I have done it in a quadrant format, but I just thought that what if I have to present as a PPT presentation and all. And
Yes.
in mapping also, we have so much points and strength and weaknesses and all, but it is not taking all the points.
It will not. That's what I'm saying. It uses the AI and picks up what it feels is right
Yeah.
and gives.
Yeah.
And if you want to do our editing, we'd go and edit it and then paste it back.
I think Claude does a very good job, and then Julius also, right? These two are good. We used
No,
Julius for the second
so,
activity yesterday.
Momita, if you really look into that, maybe in this context, it did well for it. That's how
Okay.
it comes.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, I have experienced all kind of tools. And do you believe this whole, I don't know how many of you have heard of it, and it was not even brought it up. The Tesla's owner, who is that?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
He has got his own, what do you say,
AI
LLM.
tool.
It is called Grok. Okay. If you really look some of the mathematical calculations, I was amazed by the responses that it gave. But when I gave, standard, request prompts and everything, it did not give me the responses the way how ChatGPT did. DeepSeek is also very good in mathematical, and yesterday, remember the bar color I gave? When you feed it in DeepSeek, it gave me the right answer. Right. So all these matters are, these are all the tools available in the market. Yes, one, there's a big difference in the paid and the not and the free version itself, right? Paid has got better capabilities, of course, by all reasons, right? So you pay for what you get, and then you have some free tools available, which we can leverage. And DeepSeek is trying to match with what ChatGPT is. There's a lot of people go there. But again, when it comes to Chinese version usage, there is a company restriction. People are scared. All this kind of cultural stuff gets gets into. So that's what. That's how the
one question.
progress is.
Since you were talking about different tools, so for my current project and company, they are onboarding people on ChatGPT only because they have purchased the license only for that. So like if we write the correct prompts, we can get all kind of these data which you have showed from different tools from that one tool only, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's exactly. So any more questions, friends? So let's move on to the next big topic, which is quality. I'm sure all of you would have, right? So people coming in the quality assurance background will know, right? How do you ensure quality? In, right, a brief discussion, then we'll have a case study also, right? What do you mean by quality first?
How the application is working without any bugs after we deliver.
In other words, can you refine that topic and say that delivering outcomes that meets customer expectations and the needs? isn't it? Simple terms, right? That's what quality actually means. Now tell me, what are the key aspects of an agile quality?
Bug free.
Without spillovers, ending ceremonies on time,
So first is,
sticking to the goal.
yeah, so first is a working product, a minimum viable MVP that works, right? I suppose all of you are familiar with MVP, right? You're all
Yeah.
agile
Yeah.
masters, right? So friends, that's what I am making, I'm assuming, because, right, when you are joining a workshop on AI for Scrum Masters, I assume that you have the experience of Scrum Masters, right? In whatever capacity. It doesn't matter exactly to be a Scrum Master, but at least you're familiar with Agile term. That's why I used to request upgrade team to actually tell me, right? Make sure that the team is familiar, because otherwise what happens is I will end up training more on the Agile, right? That's a dedicated workshop for that, right? Learning about Scrum Master, product owner roles and everything. But here, since you're focused more on the AI part, I assume you guys are a little more. If not, I can go maybe one or two instances to help you guys with, right? So like minimum viable product, right? That's has to be a working product when it comes to measuring quality. Number two is customer delight, right? I mean, yes, he satisfied all basic needs of the functionality of the product is met, and then the product is adaptable to any kind of data and everything. These are all the way we measure the quality in Agile, friends, isn't it? Now, what do you mean by shift left approach? When we need to ensure quality, it needs to be properly
Tested.
that goes without saying,
Yes.
isn't it, friend? It goes without saying that it has to be fully tested. So now tell me what kind of testing we do normally in Agile. People can put it in the chat. All of you guys, come on.
Unit testing, integration testing, system testing, UAT testing.
Did you mention unit?
Karma testing.
Right? Or
Regression.
so standard is what, right? We do system integration testing, functional testing, unit testing, correct? And you basically then finally you do the performance testing, integration. Sorry, after integration, what? User acceptance testing, end-to-end testing we call that as, isn't it? UI testing. Yeah, you have bunch of testing frameworks you apply to ensure ultimately the quality of the product, right? So what does it mean when I say shift left approach in Agile quality? What does that mean?
We have to think one step before. We are just
Shift left. That means
yeah.
I'm looking for those terminologies.
Uh,
Yeah, involve
Automation.
testing in refinement itself. QA guy.
So just to add to that, early testing,
Yeah.
right? In a
Can we
cycle,
call it as test-driven development? Like,
test-driven development comes later, right? That means, yes, early testing can be clubbed onto test-driven development, where at the stages of the unit testing itself,
cases, yeah.
you start
You
performing
develop.
testing at the early stages to catch the
Yeah.
bugs, right?
Yeah.
That's what. Then what next? Next key aspect. Next key aspect.
Involving the customer in all the phases.
No, those are actually the agile related, meaning the agile parameters, right? Involving customer in the early stages, perfectly fine. But I'm talking about the key principles when it comes to the shift left approach in agile quality, right? So yes, we just said about early testing. Then maybe if I want to refine what Kartika said, I can add collaboration, right? Consistent collaboration between Scrum team, product owner, product manager, the customer, right? Pretty much all stakeholders, collaboration, I can say. Third, can I say, yes, jerkin. What is that?
It's writing the test cases before even starting the coding.
Development, yeah.
So that's again, we can term it as the test-driven development, writing the test cases of the early cycles, right? I would like to put it as continuous integration, isn't it? So frequent integration, because you don't want to wait till, right, as and when a particular feature is deployed, we would like to get into the mode of continuous integration to detect the quality concerns in the earlier stages itself. The benefit is, friends, you all know what is the benefit. A stitch in time. A stitch in time.
Saves time.
Safe 9.
Saves. Right? That's the ultimate purpose. It's a proverb quote, right? Just like it starts with a cloth, right? You find a hole here in the shirt, and if you leave it, if you ignore it, right, it will keep on building up until it becomes, at a very later stage, it becomes such a huge hole that you have to spend a lot of money to actually fix it and try, or you have to waste it, throw it away. Same concept. So here is stitching time, in other words, is you are basically trying to find the bugs at the earlier stages so that there is one, improved product quality and reduced cost, because at that later stage, I don't want too many issues that I have to deal with.
Changes.
These are all the simple conceptual thought process, right? Now tell me, let's go one step down. Okay, so you talked about quality, then we talked about shift left, early stages, collaboration, right? Continuous. Perfect, right? For these to happen, friends, how should my user stories be, right?
Clear acceptance criteria,
Clear acceptance criteria.
clear
Meeting the
definition of
definition
done,
of ready.
definition of ready and
Bingo,
definition of done.
bingo. Clear definition of done,
Ready.
correct? So what are the components of a definition of done, right? So
So we have something as definition of ready and definition of done. Right. So definition of ready would be, is the story having all the required area, sections to start working on it. And definition of done would be when you are meeting the acceptance criteria.
when you are meeting the acceptance criteria, right? So but that will be the core area which will give us a shared understanding of what quality looks like, right? So code written and reviewed, how the test pass, documentation, what are the severity one defects, and so on, right? These are the typical flows, my friends, right? And then and that's why this whole world of DevOps came into play, right? And it blended along with the agile practices, correct? So the practice is like you work in small batches, which we call it as iterations, right? Then you build in the feedback loops continuously. You limit the work in progress, right? You're all familiar with these terms, right? Now, what happens is the case study which we would like to actually begin is, right, before we get there, I would like you to ask a quick pop quiz, okay, from what you, so here is the pop quiz. Only one question. You let me know what the answer is. Yes. Can you all tell me? A shared understanding on what the outcome and quality of the outcome, right, at the end of a sprint is achieved by
Clear definition of done.
A, B, C, or D.
D. Sorry, C.
I would say D.
Acceptance criteria.
D.
See, every time I'm sure you all would have attempted this agile exams, right? Be it safe or CSM. You'll see the situations will be very, very similar. You will find all answers are correct, but then they'll always look for one particular thing, isn't it? It's one that kind of a thing. So the way how we can read this is, right, our focus is purely on setting up a proper, clear definition of done, which can include all these rest of the things. You see that? That's how people uh, shape the questions up. If you see any exam questions on agile, it will be like this. It will be, I wouldn't say confusing. You will find all answers are correct. But then within that, there is one, and that's what determines our knowledge on that. It only tests the knowledge. All agile certification related questions only test the knowledge. To test the skill, friends, we have to practically experience it, right? So my focus is more on the skill, right? Focusing on building the skill.
I have a point of view here. So definition of done typically means that all like a dev person is doing the development. There is a documentation, so design impact kind of documentation. Then there is a dev test. There is a dev review. Okay, peer kind of review, and then there is a QA. So all these people are involved. They are completing their work and marking their maybe tasks as done, and that is where so we are going through all the channel is what is like if they are marking their task as done, so it is like they are done. So now we will see if the acceptance criteria meets or not. So there is a chance that it doesn't meet the acceptance criteria in spite of following all this quality process, right? Test, review, QA.
No, since you brought it up, acceptance criteria is specific to individual backlog items.
Correct. Yeah.
Isn't it? Do you agree? Whereas definition of done covers the overall sprint work.
Correct. Okay.
And it is at a global team level. That's
So
what
it's like
definition of
goal
done is
level?
never definition of done is never set at a story level or an individual level.
We would say sprint goal level, right?
Sprint goal level, exactly. So that encompasses the rest of the things. So if you have the rest of the three things encompassed, we call that as, that's what that's what I told, right? It's very tricky. It gives us that I don't know how many of you have are CSM certified. 1, 2, 3. Can you all type me in the chat box so that way I know a bit of count?
I think the definition of done is not even related to the sprint goal. It is related to the overall process
Overall,
because it is not sticking to the any sprint goals because we don't change for every sprint wise. It depends
Yes.
upon the retrospective and the ideas which
Common.
comes it.
Yes.
It's
Absolutely.
common overall in the process.
Very true. Beautiful. Okay, sounds good. So it's a good discussion, right? So yes, I know it's first big break time, right? The lunch